Welcome to the Minister. I suppose I'd like to start maybe first by also echoing what others have said about thanking those who have been vaccinating and running the vaccination centres. I was up at City West driving someone up to get their vaccination, and there's definitely a lovely atmosphere there, and it's very, very well organised. I think we're lucky in Ireland that we have low vaccine hesitancy rates. And that most people you talk to are chomping at the bit to get the call to get their vaccine, and that is to be welcomed, because we know that the more people who are vaccinated, the more we can open society, and the quicker it's progressed, the quicker we can improve our lives. I suppose the key policy in terms of COVID-19 now has moved to vaccination, and recent news on delays is of course disappointing. So at this point, any problems in the rollout of the vaccination is going to have far-reaching effects into people's lives. And I can welcome the fact that 50%, I think, of the adult population will have their first dose by the end of May, but there is concern that the 80% target for the end of June won't be met. And it's repeated time and again by the Taoiseach and Taoiseach that 80% of the adult population would have received its first dose by the end of June. In fact, the Taoiseach has also made several vague statements to grab headlines, but also unfairly raises the hopes of everyone being offered a vaccine by the end of the month. So I think his statements are unhelpful and helpful to you in your job as well, and especially given in light of yet more problems on the supply side. The drop from, I think it's 470,000 single-dose vaccines to half or as low as 60,000 will significantly delay the full vaccination. Also reductions in expected AstraZeneca deliveries, and we know the issues with the jab of the AstraZeneca and its effectiveness on new variants. So there is a real concern that the problems on the supply side will delay or derail our reopening plan. Others have mentioned, I suppose, that the need for 2 jabs of either Pfizer or AstraZeneca to give a proper level of protection against symptomatic disease from the B1617.2, and as they do for the Kent or B117 variant. So I suppose we need to ramp up the supply and get as many people vaccinated as possible in order to protect us against the Indian variant. We're hearing reports today coming out of the British Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies that the B16172 variant could be 50% more transmissible than the B117 variant. But that said, I suppose the CMO has given a positive outlook on COVID-19 in this state overall, and just has warned that we just need to keep an eye on those variants and local spikes if there are any of new cases. So I suppose just to conclude, I would also like to just maybe comment on some of what was said over the weekend about the scene seen in South William Street and in other parts of the city. I've worked in a cafe in Dublin years ago, and the issue of public toilets was an issue then, and we were one of the few cafes that would allow tourists and others to come in and use the public toilets. And while nobody's excusing the rubbish that was left behind, it's not just people who are drinking who need toilets. It's not people with disabilities need somewhere to go to the toilet. People who have IBS need somewhere to go to the toilet. We also need to provide bins. We can't tell people you have to holiday outside and then tell them, but not that outside. And it also, I suppose, speaks of maybe this privileged position from some that they assume everybody has a garden that they can go to, or that they're not sharing overcrowded accommodation, or that they might not want to be in their parents' garden. They might actually just want to be out somewhere else meeting with their friends. So I think we do need to put in place the facilities for that outdoor summer. We can't be closing off public spaces. We need to increase it. While yes, there were the view of hundreds of people on the street was very concerning, they were made up of small groups of people who had gone out, rightly so, to meet their friends. So look, I think the best time for an outdoor socialising strategy was 6 weeks, but the next best time is now. We have to give people that public space, we have to give them the facilities, toilets, bins and everything else that goes with it.
Thank you, Senator.